waste of time. They wanna be free, they wanna see the sunlight. Anytime I enter phone 911, me I get the flow where they got fire.
Yeah, we back. That was Dimension featuring Skepta and Rema.
Do you hear Skepta is planning to retire?
He is why?
LOL.
He's not even 30 years old yet.
Skepta is 40 something. Skepta is old, bro.
Get out of here. He's that old.
Guys, I don't know if you guys ever remember this, but you know Skepta did a porno.
Oh, no, it's 38.
Like, I don't know if we've ever talked
It's
about
38.
it.
I'm sorry.
It's 38. He did a porno? I didn't know about that. Wait.
Wallace, do you know about that?
What? No. I think I might have seen something like that.
So was it a porno or was it a sex tape that leaked?
No, it was a porno. It was a music video, but it was actually porn.
Oh.
Really? That's wild. I had no idea.
Skepta.
Some other things that happen in Afrobeat that I just want to touch on really quickly. There's a new Warner Music executive. She goes by the name of Temi Adeniji, appointed
Warner Music South Africa.
Yeah, MD of Warner Music South Africa and SVP Strategy Sub-Saharan Africa. That's a good look. That's a
queen, a queen.
She used to be. The move comes as Warner Music continues to expand in Africa, building upon Adeniji's work with Perez Soto to develop the company's presence in the region through key deals with regional labels, distributors, and DSPs. This included landmark licensing deals with African Digital Music Services, City, Audio Mac, and Boom Play. Boom Play is the one that they use a lot in Nigeria.
With Chocolate City, yeah.
A partnership with Chocolate City. I remember when that Chocolate City got sealed. But what has Chocolate City released since? I haven't seen anything.
Nothing, man. You know, MI ran that.
I mean, MI's coming out with an NFT.
Nah, but he ran that label into the ground.
But good look for Temi. Congrats. We're proud of you.
Let's not. I mean, I saw it because I have I think like a couple of people I follow on Instagram are like her friends, like her personal close friends. So I saw it and like, look, anytime I see a Nigerian woman like secure on the bag, winning on a big scale, like just doing things, especially when it's outside the box, like, you know, it's music, right?
Yeah.
I feel that inside Nigeria is dominated by your people. You know.
But while we're speaking of queens winning, something did come up recently.
I'm about to take this thing to a different tone now.
No, I'm not.
I feel like it won't.
All right, let's go.
Something came up recently in Nigeria.
Okay.
Kuda Bank.
What is that?
They are I'm guessing they're a bank.
I'd never heard of that before yesterday.
But I think
they're like a fintech company.
Yeah, they're a fintech.
Okay.
And so let me just read.
So like e-banking and shit like that.
Yes.
Right.
Let me just read.
But as a preface to that is that, you know, recently they just like raised like $25 million
so they got money now.
Oh, 25 mil.
So they just raised 25
mil. Oh,
yes,
they are the third people.
Yeah, so after coming out of Paystack,
there was Paystack, Flutterwave. They were the third.
They were the
because I had heard about there was another industry, another company that.
How much did Flutterwave raise again? I know it was over 100.
No, they're now
valued at 1
billion. At 1
billion.
billion.
Valued at
wow. No, that's not 30 BG naira. This 1 billion.
That's only 1 bill, gang. That's only 1 bill at the moment.
No, the 30 BG is naira. This one's dollar. 30 BG was.
This is true. This is
dollar.
Okay.
This is the real one BG. This is the real BG.
So I'm trying to secure me a fintech, bro.
I know she has been saying that. She wants to secure. Try make sure you don't go to the ones that are in computer village. Those ones they're not really.
Bro,
they're not really
fintech. I think
guys, guys. I didn't know technically I didn't know in fintech.
Yeah.
You can make an argument. You can make an argument.
I mean,
that's a hot take, but I can get behind that.
You see, Osh Poppy should have put that in his bio instead.
I know, right?
Fintech.
I know. Osh Poppy is fucked. They said his guy was working with North Korea.
Yes,
he's going to be under the jail for a long time.
As he should be.
He's doomed.
But let's go back to Kuda Bank. So fintech company, you know, they're booming. They're having a really so it turns out that they said that they found that a lot of their staff were predominantly men.
The male species.
And they wanted to do something, right, to kind of make things more equal or I guess equitable is what you'd call it.
Yeah.
Because equity is when we're talking about trying to have more equal outcomes.
Yeah.
equality is really more like equal opportunities to get those outcomes. So as a result, they made an announcement and they said they're going to open an internship for women only.
All right.
Internship program for women only. It's something that men have usually predominantly applied to. And they made an announcement. Once they were done applying, they were also putting out some tweets that you just seemed a little bit insensitive. Like they will go, "We've now closed this. Thousands of women have applied to the internship program. Some men also applied. We have a question for those men. Why though?"
That was some.
You see, like,
Do you know the question? You know the question I have for those men, Kuri?
Why did they apply?
Why did they apply?
I mean, I know why they applied. It's the same reason on Clubhouse you have women only stage. Why are they men raising hands? Like
fair. No,
you can't control. You can't
and
control
we're gonna address that. They now went on further to say, okay, for context, here's why we created an internship for women. Right now, we have more men than women working at Kuda, and we must close this gender gap quickly. We have internships for everyone, but this exclusive internship is one of the ways we're celebrating Women's Month. So this was also a way to for some good PR too.
So my take is that Women's Month thing is just PR.
For sure.
Based on that first tweet.
For sure.
Now that first tweet, I don't think it necessarily represents Kuda Bank. They have somebody who's tweeting.
It was under the Kuda Bank.
Yeah,
name,
of course. But they have someone who's tweeting who made a very silly statement.
And by the way, for context, it was recently announced that Nigeria has the highest rate of unemployed people.
Yeah.
It was recently announced. So this is a huge issue. Unemployment is a huge issue.
But wait, but let me so that tweet was silly.
Yeah.
Whoever tweeted that made a mistake, and to save face, they went with the second tweet and everything. They have a problem with them having so let's talk about, I'm not in FinTech, but I'm in tech.
Yeah.
And my experience from school was, I mean, when they say there are more men in the tech space, it's not because more men get accepted. It's because more men are actually, like, I look at I remember my classes, and I said it to someone one time, and I think somebody actually had a Clubhouse room and they did affirm this. It's like, most of my classes were men in there.
Yeah.
There were not a lot of women. There were not a lot of women in my classes.
Now, but why do you think that is, Wale?
So now I don't know. Now, if you go to
the inequality. That's
but it's a degree or study. Now, if you go
it's a matter of interest,
but if you go to a liberal arts building, for instance, now the liberal arts building,
you don't think it's a matter of interest.
But then you go to like a Towson. Then you walk over to the so obviously everyone who went to Towson knows the 1700 York Road is the science and math building.
Yes,
it's mainly men in there.
Yeah.
You take a stroll to liberal arts building, it's mainly women in there. Now I don't know why but from my classes, I realized that the higher you went up, the less women you actually saw in the class.
Yes.
Our graduating class was mainly men.
Yes.
Now, so I don't know personally, but there's nothing I could have seen in class that would be gender specific for me to say, as a man, I'm going to continue going, or as a woman. Now, maybe they've foreseen that the industry might not be welcome. I don't know, but there was nothing in the class. So from a point of interest, I was not seeing a lot of women.
Yes.
Well, fine. There's way more people into the tech industry now today than there has ever been.
Yes.
And obviously more women are switching and everything. So if Kuda Bank says they want to do an internship for women only, it's their goddamn company. It's not my business.
Yes. They have every right to do that.
They have every right to do that.
Yeah.
So if that's what they want to do, let them do it. When you start your own fintech company, you gotta do man-only internship. Like, there's no need to complain about it.
But then a man-only internship would raise a lot of
Corey, some people are not fine.
flags.
Some people don't support affirmative action. Is this not the same thing as affirmative action?
Yes, it's a type of affirmative
action.
So
I think
it is a type of affirmative action. Yeah,
it is. So you can go ahead.
On the tech and girls, and so this is mainly because this is something that I've worked on in Nigeria, which I've been trying to do, and I've been in Nigeria for a while, is like getting girls into STEM, getting girls into tech.
Yes.
Like, there are huge pushes in the West, like in the States, you have like a lot of programs and a lot of people putting a lot of money and work into this. So what you're seeing in universities is like years and years of social conditioning and many other type of barriers for women getting into science in the first place.
And this is a fact that has been proven. Is that what you're saying?
This is fact. So even like read what's her name? Melinda Gates has a book, Moments of Lift, and she speaks about it like way back in the day about her trying to get into like how she ended up at IBM or and subsequently at like Microsoft, I think,
Yes.
and talking about like in her school, there were certain subjects that were not like actually available in her girls only school, that if you had to take it, you had to go across town to go to the boys' school to go do these subjects.
Yeah, but,
and
but
boys
this
wanted
was
to-
like back in the 60s, 70s.
yeah, but Nigeria is back in the 60s as well,
Okay.
right?
Okay. So, yeah. Okay.
Even in 2021, Nigeria is back in the 60s as well. So
Yeah.
you have things where like, oh, that's not for men. Engineering is not for women. Like, are we saying that we don't know that people are talking like that in Nigeria today? Or at least 10 years ago?
I'm sure people said that, but then is that the only reason? Is what I would
No, there
question.
are many other reasons. Like we've been in clubhouse rooms before where a teacher has told a student, like a female student, that they expected the females to like to fail, but the fact that the guys are failing this course, he's very, very shocked because he expected the women to fail. So this is like we're talking about like years and years of social conditioning and different barriers in education,
Yes.
even in Nigeria in the private education system, that has prevented women from going into these fields. We also know it's a predominantly male space where a lot of women have not seen themselves represented.
Yeah.
And so when you don't see that representation, you're not even aware of the opportunities available to you. My question is, when they were taking internship before, did women not apply then? Or like, do you know what I mean?
Yes. You see, that's another thing.
another
It's also
question,
it's
yeah.
also indicative of their recruiting system.
Yeah.
And it says
So
a
they're
lot
trying to
about their
fix that.
recruiting
Maybe they're
system.
trying to rectify that now by then opening this like, special. And I don't think there's
who
anything wrong
runs
with
Kuda
women.
Bank? Is it a woman? Do you know?
No, it's a guy, but like I know his
So-
wife is also in tech as well, in the tech
Also,
space.
Is it safe to assume, and this is an assumption, that it can also be, the whole thing can also just be a form of some sort of pandering also? Or
I mean,
because-
it's 2020 now. Like,
It could be.
we live in a world where people are not talking about like having discussions, right? We all want to be performative. Like a lot of
Yes.
things are just
because bear
performative
in mind,
now.
it's internship. They're not paid, right?
No, I think these
No,
ones
they
are-
can be paid. I think it's a paid
Because
internship.
I know a lot of companies in Nigeria take advantage of people through these internship schemes.
This is my point about. I think Wale hits it on the head.
Yeah.
When you start your own fintech, do your own.
Exactly, when you do
Also,
your own. Yeah.
I cannot really fault them for after years and years of like
Yeah, so do
injustices
it.
against women.
Yes.
This one, I'm like, this is reparations. I'm good.
The only
with
thing
it.
I
So
think they
I'm
made a
not gonna
mistake
fight
is that
them.
tweet of saying.
Yeah,
about
it was a
men
bit insensitive,
applying. I
especially
think
given the conditions
that
in Nigeria.
tweet
There are men that are
was-
desperate for
Yeah,
jobs.
that tweet was a little.
Streets
like,
are not fun.
Yeah, like why?
streets are
What
hard.
do you mean by why you do with an emoji on there? That's a
Yeah.
little insensitive. And,
Yeah, it's almost like you're
especially- yeah,
you're
like
sticking
you're
a finger in the eye, like you're poking people.
I always
like, you're
say, look,
teasing
if I
people.
want to bring up one gender, I don't have to throw another
You
gender.
don't
down.
have to.
That's
You
just
don't
my
have
way
to.
of
And
thinking,
you
so.
see, initially when
You
this
can cape for one team without having to drag the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, and in Nigeria where people are fighting this, there's
Hungry.
this fight
Yes, yeah.
of it's that tweet was weird.
Yeah, so if this thing had happened here in the United States, red flag would have gone off immediately. The fact that it happened
They
in
will roll
Nigeria,
it out in a different way.
the fact that it happened in Nigeria, I was a little bit more sympathetic because I know that the inequality in I mean, it's glaring. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. So, I had to kind of like hold back a little bit, and initially my first instinct was, well, this is discrimination. This is a type of discrimination. It's called positive discrimination, is what some people call it, but it is because they are.
Is affirmative action discrimination?
Yes,
Yeah, some people
it
believe
is.
it. So.
Okay,
It's a
if you-
type
okay,
of
if you see it like
positive
that.
discrimination.
Because
Now, some
affirmative
people
action
would argue.
says somebody loses their job to me because I'm black.
Well,
Some people look at it that way.
yes. Some people look at it that way,
Yeah.
but
I necessarily don't think that's what
why
it is,
the reason
but-
why a lot of men initially cringe is because what it does is it automatically messes with the meritocratic system that we've had, right? I think there are times when it's justified where we need to, and I think in places like Nigeria, in certain places, and now I don't know all the facts at hand, but it's easy to assume that there's already large inequality, and programs like this could help close that gap.
Yeah.
Quite all right.
Which needs to be closed. Yeah.
Which, well, the where I question now is the fact that people assume that the only reason why there's a gap there is because of some kind of discrimination. People always assume. I understand that Nigeria is very, very, there's a lot of discrimination that goes on,
They do.
but I don't.
Nigeria hates women. Let's not
Yeah.
call it. Stop. Let's not dance around it.
Yeah,
in my
but
opinion.
but then we can't assume that I mean, again.
So
No, let me finish
okay.
now. You can say their recruiting system is broken. It could also be that they were just recruiting based on a meritocratic system. it could be that too. And I was gonna bring up a phrase here. I don't know if you ever heard of this thing. It's called gender equality paradox. Have you ever heard of it?
Okay.
It's basically the notion that yes, we acknowledge that there are some, very
okay, I've heard of this.
unequal outcomes,
Yes.
but sometimes those outcomes are as a result of just the interests of
Other things.
women versus men.
That's why I mentioned
they
my
found-
classroom stuff.
And they found that they did studies, and I
Yeah.
looked into this before this episode. They did studies in in a lot of Nordic countries, and a lot of these countries, the Scandinavia countries,
Yeah.
where they found that they have a lot of gender. They're like the most progressive when it comes to
Gender.
gender
Gender,
equality
social issues.
Yes, gender equality programs. But they found that even with all those programs, women still tended to gravitate towards certain courses that weren't
yes.
as much STEM, and men
exactly
tended
yeah.
to gravitate
Yeah.
towards
yeah.
STEM. And they did, like, there was a rigorous study that they did. Now, some people have come out and they've tried to poke holes in it, but they never retracted the study. But they found that this was also a factor. Now, they also found that in like underprivileged countries where things aren't as equal, they found that women went into STEM programs at a higher rate. It was more like 40-some%. In some cases, 50%. Like where you had more women doing STEM.
Like in Nigeria.
But they said that had to do with the economic.
Basically, the money you get from
the money that you're getting.
Yeah, that's why I said today everybody's going to STEM.
But also, you have to also like not forget that in these kind of countries, that probably bigger pushes. So so you actually have like a catalyst driving this, right? You have people actually saying we want to get more women into these places. So that's what's happening. But what you said is I have heard of the paradox.
Yeah.
But my take would always be this. Like if you think about any equation and with all of this, it's like this plus this times this is equal to the outcome.
Yes.
I need to make sure that we close every opportunity. So
Fair.
to make sure that the differences that we're seeing is just Inshallah vibes, right? Like every other thing that we can control as human beings, like as far as equality, as far as social inequalities, economic, whatever those are that are deterring women.
Yes.
Once we've addressed that, then we know that there's nothing else happening, nothing fishy going on here.
Fair.
Then I can deal with the consequences and the outcomes.
And
but at the moment, and in Nigeria, we cannot say
we can't say that.
So it makes sense, and because like I
right.
just said in class at the time, STEM was not, when I was in school for STEM, was not the hottest job on the market, and there were more men in the industry in the classes. But then think about it, when I say you go to liberal arts building, I see more women. There are more liberal arts job types you can get in America than in Nigeria.
Yes.
You get I can see why a woman would be more interested in going to liberal arts. But in Nigeria, when you see the only people making money now STEM people, so everyone is going to.
But also, if you think about as a woman, Wale, and something you might not think about as you guys, like when you pick careers, I'm trying to think about careers that are going to be more like, friendly towards me as a woman and whatever my needs would be. So if I'm a woman who's trying to get a family, like maybe I will not go into banking and finance because Wall Street is hostile towards me. So these are the inequalities. These are unfair systems that that are in place that deter women from going into certain roles, right?
Okay, yes.
So when we're talking about it and and we're trying to make it more equitable, these are these are some of the barriers that you might say like, oh, why are women not there? But okay, what if the classes and and the jobs, they're very, very like, they're not friendly to people juggling other things, which we know women are juggling a multitude of things because of, how things are skewed and dirty men not doing things that they're supposed to do. Yeah. So I think that on that front, I'm not going to fight Kuda. I'm going to fight their PR and their communications person for like communicating it in a stupid way or, not in the best way possible. I think that, but in Nigeria, anybody that's calling for women, I'm also skeptical of, because I'm like, are you going to make sure that the environment is safe for women?
And then what's their retention? My question is, what's their retention rate after this internship is over?
Internship.
So we're gonna hold them to it later.
That's my next. So that's why I said I think like the whole.
Really
so the idea
honestly.
behind it makes sense, but the approach seems like more of a pandering approach.
Yes.
And I just feel like,
but we can give them the benefit
of doubt. If it was,
but they need to keep the same energy. Like we want to see the results. Also, I think that what this shows for me is that it's your HR system, your hiring system was broken in the first place. If this is your attempt at fixing it, because these women were included, were they not included when hired the last time?
I have to push back against that a little bit, because we don't know for a fact that because they had
Maybe women were
unequal
not-
outcomes, that it was necessarily a symptom of a broken HR system. It could very much
that women were not applying.
that you had way more men that
Or
were
women.
aggressive with
Or qualified.
applying.
Would have qualified.
It could also be the qualification thing to where it's just.
But no, they should have been mindful at that stage as well to be more inclusive. Like my point is, like you could have been
'Cause
mindful
now
at
you are
that
down
stage.
to
Because
doing-
at the same
but
at the same time, I don't want to come in on affirmative action. I want to come in because like the system already was equitable. Because do you know what I mean? That
maybe
was
affirmative
fair
action
Yes.
is
in
the
the
only
first
way.
place.
Yes, I get you, and I get your point about inclusivity. The only thing about sometimes inclusivity could come at the cost of profits, and at the end of the day, the company is going to try to look at the most
profitable,
productive way that they can make money. So, what I'm saying is that it's not really clear that there was. So when we say the HR system was broken, it's not entirely clear. It's possible that it was broken, but for us to just come to that
those
conclusion,
kind of tweets, I do think they're broken.
it's possible. It's possible.
that's-
So you
It's
came out
possible.
yourself and you like
Yeah,
nobody
those kind of
unprovoked.
tweets,
You came
yeah,
out and
you came
said
out
that we
yourself,
have
yeah.
way
I
too
know.
many men. I'm like, okay, how did they get through? Like, why did women not get
Is
through
the
that process?
pandering
Like the
that-
recruitment program.
Yeah, the problem now is that these guys have a microscope on them now, and everyone's gonna be watching.
But do you know what I was
every
going to
I'm
say?
watching.
They do, but at the end of the day, do they really? Because Nigeria tends to.
It's Nigeria, but
tends
I'm
to
watching them
not-
anyway.
not
I want to
pay
hear.
too much
Yeah.
attention.
I want to hear the
into-
kind of environments they created
I want
for
to
the
see
women
their
that they're asking to
I
come.
want to see
Yeah.
their retention list. I want to see how many
You do.
women came on this internship and how many stayed full time and
Yeah.
are still working with you 5 years from now.
I think that'll be worth knowing. Yeah, but that actually didn't go as bad as I. Wait, are you still there, Nico?
Oh, you thought you guys were going to
I'm
finish?
here. Sorry.
Yeah, it didn't go as violent.
So
as
I saw
thought it would go.
I was on Clubhouse